My name is Florence Wanjiru Mwangi. Mwangi is my marital name. Okay, but at work I'm known as Florence Wanjiru Mirore. Second born in a family of 3. I actually born and partly raised in Jericho. Then we moved to Thika. I think I'd say the move from Nairobi to Thika, because you're actually moving from urban to rural, and just getting to say that in school, it was quite a hard time to try nimetoka ghetto alafu nimeenda shags. So it really wasn't sitting very well. But here I am. I'm married to one husband. I have 2 boys. There's Andrew, who's 7, and Amani, who's 2 years old. So I met my husband at a friend's, my girlfriend's place. Actually, he met me because I was there. So, and he was actually nursing a hangover. So he came to visit. It was one of those Saturday mornings. So I was in my pajamas. I was actually staying with my friend. So I see a dude checks in with a paper bag, sodas and meat. A true hangi reliever then, as in say he had just come so that they make a meal, yeah, and then hanging out, then you continue with the day. So that's how I met him. So what really attracted him, let's say that, him to me first, I really don't know, because I was actually undoing my hair. I mean, braids. So I really don't know, maybe we shall ask him. But for me, he's a very jovial guy. I think what really drew me is that there was this free person who's just walked into the room. He's already clicking with you, he's making jokes and everything. And for me then, I really wasn't familiar with my mother tongue. So here was somebody really cracking jokes, and it really drew me, and I'm like, okay, this is very interesting, and I actually want to learn more. So yeah, so that's how we met. I am an executive PA, or an executive assistant, as they now call it. And I started off, at the CEO's office. That's Bob Kolomo's office. So you see, then I'm there. I get to interact with, with the directors and everything. So I got to demystify, because there's this thing about, this is the CEO, this is the director. So there's how society, or there's a certain way that people tend to refer to these people. Like, I just can't come and have a one-on-one with you, or interaction. I know these people are just normal like us. So I got to demystify that. I got to understand, how the business runs. And maybe it also broadened my scope of, interaction and relationships that I actually, got to have with different people across the business. Because 3 years after, I just moved to another different unit. But you see, also being in that different unit and relating to other business units across the business, because of where I started, and now the relationship is still there. My first day to interact with Bob, you see, back then, when you're doing interviews, Bob was the last person you needed to have a sit down with. And probably, as a welcoming way to the company, and he tells you ideally what he's looking for and all. So here we were 2 of us, so he needed to select one. And the other person was actually somebody we were working with in the same department. So you can imagine, this is somebody I've worked with for 1 year, we're very good and everything. But now we have to, he has to pick one of us. And I think we'd been told he will meet us in the morning, but it was such a long wait because he was meeting us at 4 p.m. So you can imagine from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., you can't do anything, because you're actually told anytime he'll just be ready because of his schedule. It was interesting because I was nervous, but I remember when he welcomed me to, he had these couches, so you just relax. I tell you, just relax. And then the first thing he said was, call me Bob. So there's no Mr., let's put that aside. Yes, I'm the CEO, but no, I am Bob. And he really opened up an avenue of, he didn't even go straight to, this is what I'm looking for or anything. No, he asked about my name. So the second name is what he picked, and he went on to start talking about his wife or boy, and he was asking, is it the Kikuyu way, all names, do they start with wa, you get? So we went into that space. So I relaxed. The next thing was about the children. So he loved children. So that's how he opened up that space. So it really didn't seem like an interview, tell me about you, what, when you come here, what different thing are you gonna do? I think for him then was just to see somebody that he can have a rapport with. And then I identified with a parent and not a CEO at that particular moment. One thing that I'll forever remember about Bob, my second born is 2 years old. So my first pregnancy was a rough one. Then, the doctors told me you have what you call incompetent cervix. So basically what that meant, my cervix was short and then my pregnancy kept on threatening. So I was in and out of the hospital, I couldn't make any movements. So they basically had to do what they call a McDonald's stitch. So just to keep the pregnancy. But what that also meant is that I have to be on bed rest until, the pregnancy is up to term. So come my second pregnancy, I had the same fears, but I was ready to face them. But this was a different company from the one I had because, I was, for the first pregnancy, they never, for my firstborn, the company never reached out to me. I remember presenting a letter. I don't even know whether it reached HR, but nobody ever spoke. So you see, expecting a second baby and having gone through that the first, I really didn't know how Safaricom or how, that office is gonna take of it. So I remember approaching my immediate manager then, and I told him, hey, I'm on my first trimester, and this is how my history has been. So to be honest, I'm not too sure. Today I'm here, tomorrow I don't know whether I'm gonna make it, and the other days to come. So he listened and he told me, okay, I hear you. Then he said, I'll have a chat with Bob. And so I think the same day that I actually spoke with my immediate manager, I remember Bob calling me. It was actually after 5. I mean, he'd have worked and gone home, but he called me into his office after 5. So at first, being the humorous person he was, he's like, how comes I'm the last to know? How comes I actually, didn't get to see it? So first he went on and, on a rant and everything. Why am I hiding it and everything? Then he said, hey, okay, so tell me, I've been told, I want to hear it from you. So I just gave him my history with the first, and now here I am. And I told him, because then I was still having some complications, but we're just trying to, with my doctor to see how I can be at work and, still be able to maintain the pregnancy. So once I listed it to Bob, he told me this. In fact, he sprang still into his parents' side and he told me about his firstborn, his son. And because Bob, it was something very dear to him, mothers, children. It's a journey that he really loved, and anywhere he could actually assist, he would do it wholeheartedly. So, here he is, he's telling me about, he knows how fragile life can be. He's held his premature baby, he knows it. And so then I just felt comforted. And for me, there's some peace and stillness that just came in, because I didn't expect him to go to that side, because then he spoke, there I was, I'm wondering, okay, why are you telling me this? That one of, he's not just a CEO, a boss, and hey boss and everything. No, he's also human. So he told me in his words that for as long as I'm the CEO of this company, you will go home and you will come back and you will find your role still waiting for you. And for me, I think at that particular time, I was like, okay, wow, as in, what did I do? God, what did I do to deserve this? And he didn't stop it there, because he told me, if you come in today and you cannot work, you do an hour or 2 and you feel you can't work, go home. if you're not able to wake up, just call us, just text us, let us know you're not doing okay. He went on further. He said, even if I'll be laying off people, if the company rather will be laying off, I will do it the Breton way, that, any layoffs, any pregnant woman is not touched. For me then, that was just a new lease of life given to me then. And the office went on because I couldn't do, because my movement was also limited. But they were like, anytime you want to come, there were taxi services given to me that don't drive. Let a car pick you, let it, from home, let it drop you to work. And at that time I was like, okay, that when you ask God, okay, why me, as in, but it showed somebody different, somebody who values life itself. And that's what he kept on saying. And even after I delivered, Bob created time to actually see this boy. He was that conversation of, okay, he walked with me the days I'd come into work. So what are we expecting? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Do you have a name? And when my second born was born, he was called, he's called Amani. Amani because of the peace and the favor that I experienced during his pregnancy. And that is what Bob gave me. So for me, his memories, for sure, I see them, they're living, because I have a son whom I can testify. You know what? I walked this journey, and had it not been for the help, I'm not too sure how it would have been. And I'm thankful eternally. Yeah. I'd say Bob really improved. He was very keen on establishing a work-life balance. That was very dear to him. And, he would even come and ask you, so what are you doing, with your children, especially where kids are involved? What are they watching and everything? So you tell him cartoon and he's like, no, change that. Let them start watching Nat Geo. As in, so that it improves the type of conversations you're having with them when you're having dinner, breakfast. And for sure, it did make a difference. And also just being a strong-willed person, in terms of what I want to tackle. And I think for me, I've seen it with my firstborn. He's like that also. And when I tell him, hey, Andrew, do this, and he'll be like, no, Mom, but I think I want to talk with you. So I don't want to do ABCD. And I appreciate that. So that's strong will. There's some assertiveness that I'd also, I'm very glad, because I realized, it's actually very normal, because you're being real, you're staying true to yourself. So it's actually okay. I mean, this guy is successful. Makes me think that I won't also just go up the ladders just like him, and people will actually respect you for that.